Carry On is an airport set action picture featuring Taron Egerton as a TSA officer and Jason Bateman in a hat as a killer for hire. Egerton gets a call from Bateman, who threatens to kill his pregnant girlfriend if he does not let a suitcase with a nerve agent pass through the security checkpoint, and it's up to Egerton to save his girl and stop the bad guy. This is where the movie succeeds. Egerton pulled off enough clever tricks to try and get out of his predicament that I was engaged with what I would call the mechanical or the physical side of the story. And by that I mean, for example, tricking a fellow TSA officer into leaving his post. And what's commendable, all his tricks were based in action, not conversation. Unfortunately, the script also has two major flaws. The first one is the villain. You see, Jason Bateman might be a stone-cold professional killer, but he's also desperate for a friend.
Hey, how about you tell me about your holiday plans? Tell me where you met, you and Nora. How do your parents like her? They approve?
An international assassin that will stop at nothing to achieve his mission, who just wants to chat with somebody.
But I do have a son. He thinks I'm in insurance. I bet it's already started to eat at your relationship with Nora. Your generation is just so taken with the concept of authenticity that you will not take a bite unless you know it's the perfect hashtag real thing to real coffee.
Most action movie antagonists like to listen to themselves talk, but this one crosses the line into being annoying. And why? Why is he telling all this? I mean, isn't engaging Egerton in conversation beyond giving him instructions directly jeopardizing his mission? And what's more, he keeps meeting Egerton face to face for no apparent reason. What makes this worse is that Bateman is quite bland. He's not menacing, he's not charismatic, he's just a guy in a hat. And yes, that would be appropriate for his character's profession, but then don't make me listen to him flapping his gums for half of the movie.
I sense maybe you're not a fan of Christmas, is that right?
Another action movie with a prolonged phone call is Joel Schumacher's Phone Booth. The movie is a fine concept that is poorly executed. The basic idea of the film is that a jackass publicist, played by Colin Farrell, is forced to stay on a call with a sniper who makes Farrell confront his sins. If he does not comply, the sniper will kill him. The main issue with this script is that Farrell doesn't really do anything of note. The most extreme thing he's pressured into doing is more or less an influencer apology video.
I lie in person, and on the phone, I lie to my friends.
It also doesn't help that the supporting characters are either verging on parody.
Go back to where you were.
Okay, hey,
That's
no
right.
problem. So you got some intimacy issues. I got those too.
Or just plain jokes.
Motherfucker, I'm a gangster! I don't gotta be reasonable!
On the bright side, Phone Booth has some visual flair. At times it is quite stylish. There's slow motion, slow shutter, split screen, rapid editing, and in those moments it resembles a music video from the turn of the millennium. But the actual reason why we're talking about Phone Booth is that throughout this movie there's also a voice in the protagonist's ear. The difference is that this villain, played by Kiefer Sutherland, is menacing. His voice has the right growl, he gets emotional, he enjoys himself. In other words, he's got character.
Who do you keep talking to on the phone?
Nobody.
Your friend, your parent, your lover, who?
Careful, Stuart. Careful.
My psychiatrist.
Excellent. I should have thought of that.
I see.
Sure, Sutherland's social avenger is very different from Bateman's gun for hire, but the problem is that Carry On can't decide whether its villain should be a no-nonsense professional or an easygoing psycho. Unfortunately, it settles somewhere in the middle, and we're left with a lukewarm bad guy who can't seem to shut up.
People tell you who they are long before they open up their mouths. You know what you told me? That you're pathetic and you're asleep. You're someone that's so afraid to make a mistake, you're willing to let the whole world pass you by.
The rest of the cast carry out their assignments just fine. Egerton pulls off all the right faces, and I actually enjoyed the interactions between the behind-the-scenes people at the airport and a small glimpse into the life of a TSA employee. Of course, it's by no means an authentic representation, it's basically an ad, but I'd say that the movie manages to create a little world of its own.
Bingo. Hey up.
Not much stands out about the direction of the film other than this one scene. And it's a PlayStation 2 era video game cutscene worthy one-take fistfight. Someone must have thought of it as being fresh and visceral. It's not. It's artificial, confusing, and not in tone with the rest of the movie, which keeps its visual style more traditional. But in the end, it all comes down to the movie's second major flaw, and the most critical one. I had to spend way too much of Carry On's runtime asking myself, why? Why is this happening? Why is this necessary? Why go through all this trouble? Couldn't Bateman just bribe a guy to let some contraband on the plane? Tell him it's some harmless drugs? Or the Russian who sold him the nerve agent? He was a smuggler. Couldn't you use him? Also, why does it have to be a plane? The plan is to kill a specific target and inflict mass civilian casualties, so just release the nerve gas at the airport, at the security check while the target is clearing out his pockets. I mean, forget the airport. Bateman could do this at the target's favorite deli. The bottom line is that the villain could achieve its goal in a way that is much more straightforward. And that's the main problem with Carry On. A lot of stuff happens not because the characters need or want to do these things, but because the script makes the characters do them. Common sense be damned. A great example is this guy, Jason Bateman's accomplice, who stabs, shoots, and crashes cars across the airport to kill Egerton's girlfriend. Why, you ask? Just to mess with him? I mean, isn't he on a mission to get poison on a passenger plane or something? Doesn't this attract attention? And why does he keep his hostage with him in his sniping hacking ban? That's not going to end well. Carry On expects me to accept its premise at face value, that a captivating villain has a clever plan and it's up to one airport employee to stop him. But the movie can't sell it. It can't sell the premise because it is forced upon the audience. It is not earned. And while at times I was having fun at the airport, too much of my time was spent wondering how none of this needs to happen.
What about you? You've been on autopilot for quite a while now. Why don't you quit?
Speaking of having a jolly old time at an airport, you know what Carry On reminded me of? Another Christmas-themed airport movie. It's Die Hard, but worse, so it's still pretty good.
Shh, it's okay. I've done this before.
This movie suffers from the Home Alone 2 syndrome. No, not that. It's when a sequel recycles the same story and characters only in a new setting. Holly, Dick, Carl, and an obnoxious jerk who is in charge of the local police all return. The comic relief still hangs out in the basement listening to music. John McClane must once again save some macho assholes from themselves, and counter-terrorists keep showing up even if it's all part of the plan. I mean, even McClane himself is a bit skeptical.
Another basement, another elevator. How could the same shit happen to the same guy twice?
Die Hard 2 is also much more of a straightforward action picture than the first film. Gone are the moments of character development, and it results in the movie being a bit lifeless. Similarly absent is a memorable villain. Instead, we must make do with a stock mercenary military man who doesn't even have a cute accent, though he does have some notable assets. There's also the case of tonal dissonance that I would like to address. You have the same sweet ending as the first film, the husband reunited with his wife, a couple of gags, holiday music, but did everybody forget about the 250 innocent souls that were murdered in cold blood in the middle of this movie? The sweet old lady, the kids? Honestly, a poor choice by the filmmakers. Yes, you must show what's at stake, what the bad guys are capable of, but have them crash a jet or a transport plane. Nevertheless, Die Hard 2 is an action movie sequel-ass sequel, if there ever was one, but even a watered-down Die Hard is a good time. Bruce Willis and Dennis Franz, for that matter, are as charming as ever. The action is visceral, and the snow-covered scenery is a treat for the eyes. So, if you're looking to spend Christmas at an airport, I would wholeheartedly recommend Rennie Harlin's Die Hard 2.
Oh, shit!
Alright, there's another Christmas set action movie directed by Rennie Harlan. I wonder how that one holds up.
Suck my dick. Every one of you bastards.